Hey guys, this is Healthy Life Designing. We have had so many great things happening on the show, and today we have another great thing happening. We have a special woman from Pickerington, Ohio. Her name is Traci Bakenhaster. She has created her own business called Design and Renew, where she coaches people for their finances as well as helping them in their careers, which I know a ton of us have been stuck since 2020, and there's been a lot of changes being made with your finances, and a ton of people that I know personally have made a lot of career changes. And if you have not made one yet and you've been stuck, Traci is your gal. And she also has created a brand new app that is part of the resources that she uses to help build communities and to add more resources and information for her clients. And stick around because Traci Bakenhaster will be joining us as soon as we come back.
Hi, I'm Amanda Wattenberg, Regional Director at Ohio Guidestone. Do you or does someone you know have a substance abuse disorder? Have you been thinking about getting help but don't know where to start? It takes a lot of courage to ask for help, but it's the most important step you can take. If you think you know everything that's available in Fairfield County, think again. Like other chronic diseases, addiction can be managed successfully. Treatment enables people to counteract addiction's powerful, disruptive effects on the brain's behavior and regain control of their lives. Even if it takes multiple attempts, treatment does work and people do recover from addiction every day. So keep trying because your life matters. You matter, and we're here to help. Call 211 and ask for the treatment resources available right here in Fairfield County.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Hey guys, we're back.
True.
This is Healthy
Sometimes.
Life Designing. We have Traci Bakenhaster joining us today. Thank you for being here today, Traci.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, I mean, I have to tell you, and I don't know if I told you this before, we've talked multiple times, but I love the colors of the logo and the branding and all of that. I don't think I've ever told you that before, but I get suckered into that stuff. I would get real nerdy about it. And I just thought, oh, I haven't even told her yet.
Well, I appreciate it. Yes, it's definitely teal is my favorite color. And I was like, ooh, and gold pops really well with this. It actually was some of it was my wedding colors. And I was like, let's just work it right into the business.
Yes, I love it. And speaking of the business, I love to talk about all of that, but I want to hear more about your journey leading up to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a fun journey to say the least, and quite a long one sometimes. So several years back when I was actually 20 years old, I got pregnant with my son. So very young, ended up being like, oh crap, I now need to be an adult and have to take care of this child that's coming and be able to do and provide for him. So I enrolled in college. I was working part-time, living at my grandma's. And then I was like, I really think I need to get my own apartment. Grandchild living with grandma and then great grandchild, it just was not working well. Let me tell you, love my grandma to death, but she was a very bad on spoiling. And so we got an apartment, and then not too long after I was like, well, let me just get a house, because who doesn't do that? It's cheaper to get a mortgage than it is for rent. So let me do that. So that's what I did. And then I switched jobs to another part-time job. And then all of a sudden I got a letter from Job and Family Services saying, you make $50 a month too much now. So we are cutting your food assistance and your daycare assistance. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm making $23,000 a year. How is that too much money?
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh. So they cut all of the money out and all the assistance out. And so there I was now with like a $750 a month daycare bill, groceries that I never had to buy, a mortgage payment. So I ended up trying to, started using credit cards more, maxing out credit cards. Then I had a major plumbing incident happen in my house because, that's what happens when you buy a house and you aren't prepared for buying a house. And it ended up being a $3,500 expense, which was crazy. Of course, I didn't have that kind of money, no emergency fund or anything of that nature. So then more credit card debt, ended up actually having to go refinance my car, which was paid off because I didn't have enough money on credit cards to pay for it.
Yes.
So ended up just spiraling at that point. Finally, I had to pick up 2 more jobs. So I was working 3 jobs, going to school full time, just drowning in all this debt, taking out student loans, doing all the things you should never do with your finances. And one day I discovered a gentleman named Dave Ramsey, which I know some people love him, some people don't, and that's totally okay. But I loved his method and his methodology. And I started using hid budgeting tool, started slowly get myself more organized, pulling that situation. Then fast forward a couple months and a year, I met my husband, and we got married about a year after that. And we're able to combine our incomes and knock out over $50,000 of debt, including our wedding that we paid for in cash, which was amazing. By that point, I finally had gotten a full-time job because I was all done with school, and I'd been in a full-time job for a while. So it was a much better situation. And while I was in this full-time job, I was spending a lot of time in the high schools, and I started seeing this situation of, oh, these students have no concept of money.
Yes.
They have no idea what to do after high school when they graduate, right? I mean, we all think we did when we were teenagers. Oh, I got it all figured out. And they have no clue. But there's nobody there telling them or supporting them or educating them. And I was like, well, no wonder I was in the situation I was in as a single parent, because I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know anything about how to find the best career. Oh, yeah, student loans are not the best thing to utilize for college or living expenses. And I'm like, why is nobody doing anything for this? So that's kind of was the motivation that really made me start my business and start doing what I'm doing with career and finance coaching and working with high school teens, because of going through that mess and knowing how hard it was and how much of a struggle and how badly I wish I would have had somebody like me during that time to help me get through, give me support, give me encouragement. And so now I get to be that for other people.
Yes. And that's so amazing. And it is so true. I mean, I have 4 boys, and it's, few of them are pretty gifted with numbers. I was not gifted, and my situation was very similar to yours. I had government assistance. I ended up racking up bills when I was way too young because trying to compensate, not having the money. And you've got the insurance part that you get help with too. And then after so much money is made, that also gets taken away. But how wonderful is it? But you do things a little bit more differently, I think, than what other people do with your coaching. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So coaching, I think, is that foreign word. A lot of people are like, so what does that mean? Does that mean you have a whistle? Are you yelling at people? And I'm like, absolutely no. That's not at all what coaching is. I like to look at it more as a, especially in the money side, I kind of like to go with that. I'm a money counselor where I really help people repair their relationship with money. So being a coach, yes, I provide education. Yes, I can provide the support and encouragement and accountability, but more than anything, I'm just there with that person, going through it and helping them talk through their situations, helping them change how they think of money or how they think of themselves or their future, their career, whatever it is, and just helping them really see their true potential and abilities and what they can actually do when they make that shift. And it's my favorite part about coaching is a couple months into it, you start seeing these shifts of, oh, look, they're completely going away from where they used to be, and they're loving it, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to spend that much on this, or I can't believe I did this. Now they're like, I'm not going back, this is awesome. So I think coaching, it's really just that partnership more than anything else, and just a support person to be there for you and give you that accountability, give you the emotional support that you need, but also the education when you need that too.
But it has to be, overwhelming sense of joy when you see these people becoming empowered and liberated by their own choices, that you're just giving them the resources to make the choices on their own.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people with coaching. Like, coaching doesn't work unless you apply it. Like, I can sit here all day long and support and encourage you and give you tools and tricks, but if you don't apply them, nothing's going to change. And I think it's absolutely amazing. And that's why I do what I do. And I get to see that change in that person. Like, you did this, you made this happen. And it's a great feeling. Absolutely.
What is the biggest hurdle that you find to be a commonality amongst the people that you've helped?
I would say the biggest hurdle is, in some cases, it is overcoming the scarcity mindset. Of, oh, I can't afford coaching, or, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that. And I like to tell people it's an investment, right? You're investing in yourself. And I've provided multiple different ways for people to do that, whether they want one-on-one or they just want to be in a support group, like the program we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I think that's the biggest challenge. But when you hit that rock bottom and you're like, I need to change and I'm willing to do whatever it takes, knowing that if I invest in myself now, what is that going to do for me in the future? I think a lot of time people can't see that far ahead. They see, oh my gosh, it's costing this right here. But it's like, okay, but what is this cost right now going to do for you in 6 months or 12 months or 5 years? The payoff is way more than what the person invested in it by far.
Awesome. What about, can we talk a little bit about the career coaching? Because that to me sounds, they're both very exciting, but the career part sounds even more exciting for me.
Yes, the career coaching is great because the career coaching is very broad. It can be a lot of different things. Where I really specialize with people is I work a lot with women and help them kind of really rediscover themselves. You know, a lot of the women I work with have been divorced, they've been widowed, or they just are single. They're maybe young adults, came out of college, and they're like, okay, I don't really want to do what I just got my college degree for, but I don't know what to do. And I don't really know who I am as a person, what my values are, what my passions are. And so the career coaching, we always start with that of like, let's figure out like who you are, like who are you as a person? What do you love to do? What are you passionate about? And then how can we find a career path that gets you there? And maybe it's not the exact career itself, but maybe it's the things you surround yourself with in your life that's fulfilling those things. Because sometimes it is like, oh, you know, I would love to go be an underwater basket weaver because that's my passion, but I'm not going to make a lot of money in that to be able to pay my bills and do the things. But maybe I do that on the weekends, or maybe I get involved in this nonprofit that does that, and just other ways to really help them build those passions into their life to help them feel fulfilled. I think the statistic is almost 50% of Americans are unhappy or miserable in their career because they're in something that's not fulfilling them. And it may not even be the job. It could be the culture they're surrounding themselves in. And until they know what their strengths are, what they enjoy, they really can't get out of that. You know, it's kind of like, well, I hate this, but I don't know why I hate it, but I also don't know what I love. And until we answer those questions, we can't really get a good direction on what's the best fit.
Right. And would you be able to share a story? You don't hear my dogs barking outside, do you?
No.
Okay. Would you be able to share a story of a success story of one of your clients?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually just finished up with a client a couple months ago, and she was amazing. She was actually clear on the other side of the country, which was really cool. So we did everything virtually. She was a cancer survivor, single mom to 2 kids, and she was in a career. She was kind of a yes person. She was saying yes to everything because she had a lot of interests, a lot of things she liked. And then her plate was just like overflowing with everything. And she was just struggling, keeping up, struggling, prioritizing, and saying, oh my gosh, I just am lost in all this mess. And so we were able to really work together. We worked together for 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, she had made significant progress to the point where she was working through getting things off her plate. She knew what her goals were. She knew where she wanted to be. She was doing like 3 different businesses, 2 of them volunteer. And she was like, nope, this is what I'm passionate about. And I want to do this one. And I want to do this as my business, and that just building those things in. So we were able to, you know, work on time managing with her calendar and time blocking, prioritizing, laying out goals. And her comment to me was just like, I can't believe how much focus I now have and how much clearer of a path I have getting to this point now. And it was only in a 3 months time, but just being able to have that other person to talk through all these things with really just helped her, because it was just a conversation. She would be like, it's that aha moment, right? You're in the middle of a conversation and you're like, oh, light bulb, I do really like this. Or, oh my gosh, this is really draining me. Maybe I shouldn't do it anymore. And then it helps that person make those decisions. It's not me saying, you need to get rid of this. You need to stop doing this. It's just like, well, why are you doing it? What's going on? Why do you like it?
Exactly.
What's it doing for you? What are your goals? Is it helping you get to your goals?
All right, that's about time for us to take a quick break, but more with Traci Bakenhaster when we come back.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster. And we fell in love with the downtown area where the fountain is and the memorials and the flags and all the stuff. And we looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. And the employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Hey guys, Healthy Life Designing. We have been here chatting with Traci Bakenhaster of Design and Renew for finance and career coaching, and how wonderful it has been just chatting with you. But there's something else that we have not covered yet that I know you would love to dive into, and it's that you recently created an app. And it encompasses all the things that you've been teaching your clients. And could you tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a new pretty much membership like subscription model. I'm very excited about it. The platform is amazing. People can download it as an app on their phone, engage in it. It's called Mighty Network. So people would join our tribe. And basically in this membership zone is when you join it, it's kind of like Facebook news feed initially. When you come in, it has like a nice feed of all the stuff that maybe you missed while you were gone, updates, maybe Q&A, all that kind of stuff. But my favorite part about it is you can have groups. So I'm actually a bunch of groups that are going to be with people can join. It's free as part of their subscription model. So it's not going to cost them any extra money to be part of these groups. They can be in as many as they want to. We're going to start off with a few and just keep adding them. But some of the ones we're going to have one specifically for women. It's going to be just a women's group where anybody that is a female can be in that group, and we can support each other, encourage each other, ask questions and just all things woman, and not even just financial career, just whatever anybody wants to talk about or has questions about. We're going to have one for all things college, where you can just ask all your college questions, get all your college questions answered. There'll be one for retirement, buying and selling at home, entrepreneurs. So we're even going to have a group for those who are aspiring or current entrepreneurs. And the best thing about these groups is I can actually bring in industry professionals that are in my network that can help me run these. So I'm not a realtor, but I want to have a buying and selling, investing in real estate group, because if somebody's interested in that as part of their full financial picture, I want them to have resources. So there'll be a realtor in that group that'll be answering questions. There'll be a mortgage lender, as well as a real estate attorney who actually can help with any real estate investment type questions and things. So it's awesome to be able to have that resource. For the entrepreneurs one, there'll be a payroll company, there'll be a legal, insurance, all these things, just so that you can go in that group and get your questions answered and get all the support you need. And why I love this model is because it's all the resources in one place for somebody. So instead of being like, oh, I'm part of this subscription, or I work with this person, or I do this, it's like, no, you come here, you're part of this. You get to join all these different groups, be connected with all these industry individuals, get your questions answered. And then we'll have 2 live Q&A calls every single month, which people can just jump on as part of their membership. And that'll be with me, and I'll bring in guest speakers from time to time, and they'll just bring other questions, bring all your career, your finance questions, bring your college questions, and just ask those. And it'll just be a mastermind type setting where we're just doing Q&A and how can you support, or what are your challenges you're having right now, just as part of this membership. So the idea of this came about because I love to give as much benefit and value to my clients as I possibly can. But I also realize not everybody is in a place to do one-on-one coaching. So I wanted to have something that could be very affordable, very easily in somebody's budget, but still provide them with tons and tons of value. Something that I'm also developing that's going to be a part of this is courses. There are going to be 8 different types of courses that people can either upcharge their membership and then they get access to all of the courses. There'll be 8 of them and about 130 videos between all of them, which is a ton of information and a really resource for people. So that way people can maybe self-teach themselves and instead of having to go Google a million different things or read 20 different articles, you just go here, watch the 2 5-minute, maybe 10-minute video and get your questions answered from that. So I'm really excited about this. It's brand new. It's actually up and ready to go now. We're still adding some of the tweaks and details, but it is ready to go for people to join and to start getting engaged in, getting their questions answered, and just starting to build that community of people that are working towards the same goals, they're just trying to do the best, kind of break that cycle of, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore. I don't want to be in a career that I'm miserable in. I want to be weird. I want to be different. And that's what this community is going to be, is how can we support and encourage each other to break out of the norm that so many of us find ourselves in.
Yes, I love that so much. And another thing that I love is you had shared with me when we had spoke not long ago about how this development kind of just opened itself up with you finding one person at your church that led to another person. And then it just, they were just right there and you had never known. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in the process of trying to look for a virtual assistant and getting some help in that space, and ended up that one of the folks that I was connecting with in a group that's national, international in some places, they just happened to know somebody and they referred them to me, and it ends up she's literally right down the road from me, which is hilarious. Like this massive group of Facebook people all over the place, and they just happened to be 10 minutes away from good old Pickerington. So that was really, really amazing and just so funny how that worked out. But that group was kind of an inspiration for this. It is a Facebook group that's for women business owners or aspiring business owners, and they have a really good community. And when I found this model that I could have the community, but also offer all these other things in one place, it was just like, this is a no-brainer. This is going to be amazing for the people that are part of it. And I just couldn't wait to do it. I've been nerding out a little bit over the last couple of weeks as I've been setting it up. Like, yes, I can't wait for this. This is going to be great.
In which you should, because it is great. And I mean, I think you're a prime example of, being a single parent and doing all that you've done over the span of time that you've done it. And I mean, the app itself is just an incredible resource. And I love that it's, there's a lot of negativity out there with different social media outlets. And I love that you are the one that can kind of control, and it's more like a private thing. It's not, but it is, to where you're not going to have the negative stuff from the outside filtering in because you're in control of that.
Exactly. And it's awesome because everybody can customize their own notifications, where if you do want to get notified of a new article that was posted or a new course that was launched, you can set those up. Where it's hard with Facebook, you might want to get notified of your friend's stuff, but you can't go specify it. You say, oh yeah, I'm following her this, but the challenge is you miss a lot of things on Facebook and those other social media platforms because of their algorithms. And this doesn't have that. This is the community. Everything's there. You can go research it. Everything's, separated out by different types of content. So you can have a label. Like if you're like, hey, I want to find financial stuff, then you search out by financial labels, and then everything that's been posted is going to be there. And it's just a great way to bring that connection. And like you said, keep the negative out. Like, no, this is a way so it's a safe place for us to support each other and provide resources and education without the drama.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you could give 3 tips for somebody to kind of clean up their financial mess, what would those be?
I would say number 1, get on a budget. I know a lot of people hate that word, but you got to look at it more as it's a plan for your money so that you can actually tell your money where to go. And that is step number 1. If you have no clue where your money's going and you have no clue where you want your money to be going, how can you make progress on anything else?
Yes.
So number 1 is get on a budget. Number 2, find out why. Why do you want to budget? Why do you want to pay off debt? Why do you want to do whatever it is you want to do? Find those reasons and then set those goals to get you there, because that's going to be what makes or breaks you. You know, you have to have the reasoning on why you're doing it so that you actually stay with it, and that you actually have like, oh, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see this thing I'm working towards. And then the last thing I would say is find somebody to hold you accountable, be it a group, be it a friend. No, I don't recommend your shopping buddy, somebody that's going to be able to actually talk through a purchase with you and say, you know, do we really need that? Like, well, why do you want this? Let's talk about why you think you need it, why you want it. Let's weigh the pros and cons together and then help you make the best decision possible. And having that, I mean, it could be a coach like me, it could be a community like the membership area, it could just be somebody that's in your network that's a trusted individual. So I'd say those are the top 3 to get you started.
Okay. And I want to ask you about the career too, for the career coaching. What are 3 tips that you could give for somebody that's in that stuckness?
I would say number 1, clarify what you want, you know, not even just career, just saying, okay, let's say pretend money's not an issue. There's no career issues. What do I want out of life? Do I want to retire at 55? Do I want to live on the beach? Do I want to travel? Like, what are the things you enjoy? And start really diving into those. I like to call them like dream sessions. Like, you're just dreaming, like figure out what you want. And then as you start to like lay those things out, you're going to be like, oh, it'll start clarifying other things for you. So I would say starting with that is key. The other thing is self-awareness. Start learning who you are as a person. Be it, okay, I need to sit every morning for an hour all by myself with nobody else in the room and you know, journaling, or do some deep diving into like, so who am I as a person? Maybe it's a devotional, maybe it's, you know, an activity. I mean, even the personality assessments that are out there can be very insightful. Even if anything, they might just reassure that, oh yeah, this is a quality I had, but I wasn't sure if I had it, but this just says I did. So that's great. Just helping learn more about yourself. And then I always like to put this in there, part of being a financial coach too, but money is important. I hate to say that because we always like, oh, money's not a thing. Do what you love, right? The reality is, if you've got a lot of debt, if you make $20,000 a year and you have a family to support, it's not practical. So money is important, but it's not the decision factor. So definitely consider income and do things in the smart way. Excuse me. And I think the best way for that is for students that are graduating, by staying away from college debt, right? If you know you want to do this career, you want to work with a nonprofit, you know you're not going to make a lot of money. You're going to make $30,000 to $40,000 a year, maybe. And that's okay if you have no college debt or credit card debt. But if you went and took out $80,000 of student loans to get there, now it's a problem.
Yes.
So it's just, I think when it looks at careers, look at what your situation is, because although you might want to be an astronaut, it may not actually be practical with your situation.
Yes. And if somebody is in these situations, or if they would like to be a part of the network app, where can they find both of these places?
Absolutely. So they can find them at designandrenew.com, or they can also email me. And my email is just my letter, first name of T, and then my last name, Bakenhaster. So TBAKENHASTER at designandrenew.com, and I can get them all set up. Those would be the best methods. And then I do have a link to the system, but we might be able to post that after the fact. So I haven't memorized that one yet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your great energy and all of your great information. What you're doing is so cool. I love it that you make it fun, and it doesn't make it sound boring, because I feel like there's a lot of negativity around the word money and budgeting and finances, but that's just because of the stigma that people attach themselves, I think, to it, which I'm sure you've seen all of it when you go in and you have to break it all down for everybody. But thank you again so much for being here, Traci.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been a great experience. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay, guys, that's it. That's all that we have time for today. You guys go check out Design and Renew. It's a really cool place to better your finances and your career. And until next time, we will see you soon.